Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 162. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by my Canerdian friend who's soon to come south of the border. And remark, if you need to, I guess, a shelter in place, there's always a place for you in Minnesota.
Good to probably take longer to get there than it would to get home, but okay, thank you.
Okay. We are also joined by a couple of friends who've been on the show before. We've got Clint, a.k.a. Ryuketsu 2043, who keeps saying he's going to change his handle, but never does, from Spreading the Nerd.
One of these days. I'll get there at some point.
We've got Eric, a.k.a. Game Positive, from Season Gaming, and his cat is joining us too.
How do you get in here?
I don't know.
How's it going, everybody?
So we are going to be going all in on Switch 2. We had the big event today, and that's all we're doing. So all the regular things we usually cover are gone for today. And so we'll just get into the nuts and bolts of this situation, Mark. Lead us into thanking some special friends.
Yeah, we have to thank our amazing Patreon Secret Friends squad over at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, including our besties tier, Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, Francie, Xbox Expansion Pass, and Charlie's Uncle Tim. The Friends with Benefits tier, we have John Sedorf, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Brendan Myers, Corian HD, the Boss Rush CEO, Matthew Keel, Kurt Krug, and Tanya Lee, as well as the Secret Friend Super Squad. I added some extra words there, but they deserve extra words because they're amazing. Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias. You can join all of these people 7 days free to try it out. Enjoy all the exclusive shows, no ads, Discord benefits, all that other stuff. If you like it, you can stick around for as little as $2 a month. And at the time of listening to this, there's a couple more days to enter an amazing contest. The Nias family are giving away 5 annual Friends with Benefits Patreon tier subscriptions, full year of all that bonus content. All you have to do is email secretfriendsunite@gmail.com with the subject Patreon giveaway. That's it. That's all. I'll make it even easier. If you're listening to this, send me a message. DM me on Instagram or on Discord or wherever you can find me, and I'll make sure you're entered. I'll send the email for you, so you don't even have to do that. Just send me a message saying, hey, I want to enter that contest, but I can't remember email addresses. And you're entered.
Mark will even slide into your Signal DMs, and he'll enter you.
Sure. I'll download a new app. You'd have to message me somewhere else and DM me somewhere and say, hey, download this random messaging app so I can send you a message there to enter the contest, which I think would defeat the purpose of, messaging me the first place, where you could just say, hey, do that. So Instagram, Discord, best 2 places to get me. But yeah, it's that easy. Send it again. secretfriendsunite@gmail.com is the email address. Enter. You have a couple of days, only a couple of days. We're down to the wire. Enter right now, full year of Patreon benefits. But if you don't win, again, 7 days for free. Try it out. Little as $2 a month. Easy peasy. Patreon.com/secretfriendsunite.
Yes. So, folks, it's a little bit different this episode because Mark is going to be the captain of the SS Co-op Mode this episode. He is our top ninfriendo, and he is going to take us through the event. He's going to hit on a couple of the big points. So with that, Mark, and I know we're going to wrap it up with some comments from our social network and also kind of give our grades. So if you want to kick it off, Mark, and obviously, gents, if there's anything you want to talk about, kick it in.
All right. Yeah. So today, April 2nd, we got basically what we've been waiting for, most of the information we've been waiting for Switch 2. We've got a launch date, we've got a price, we've got what's in the box, we've got a few games that they showed off. We're going to go through a whole bunch of stuff, starting with the launch date. I think we nailed this one, Todd. I said late May, early June. I think I gave like a 2-week window, and I think this was right in the window. I think my last possible launch day was like June 6th. Nailed it. I'm calling that a win.
I think you did too. I said the week of the 30th, which was wrong because there's not a week of the 30th. It would have been like the week of the 2nd. So I was wrong. So I would have said like the week of June 2nd. So I think we're both hot spot on. Yeah. So did you guys think of any release dates? Did that meet your thoughts on a release date?
I was expecting a June release date because there was some leaks which were rumors that people had seen the Switches 2 getting shipped stateside, so I figured that meant a summertime release. So I was hoping
pretty
June,
quick rollout. Yeah. Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I've been like F5ing like gaming leaks and rumor subreddits and stuff like every single day. So I seen a lot of leaks pointing towards June. So that's kind of was my expectation.
Nice.
My main question was like, what games are coming, like, or what are the release dates of the games? Like that's kind of was more of the mystery to me. So
Okay.
I wasn't surprised by June 5th at all.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of the game release dates. We'll get to some of those and our like favorite games and all that kind of stuff. But first, I do want to go through again. We got Todd. Do you want to talk about our predictions?
Let's just do this.
Through some of those. Yeah. So we had predictions a little while ago. This was, I think, maybe when they
2 weeks
first
ago.
announced this event 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks. No, it was 2 weeks ago that we did this in our last episode. We did one last. We did one last.
We did them a long time ago too. Like not
these.
These ones are very, very current.
Are fresh off the 2 weeks ago.
So I said 450, one version launching May or early June. You said $400, two colors launching at May 30th.
You're right, Mark. You said it's really one version, but you're just getting a pack in. So I would say you nailed it. It's the same with just a game in the box.
Right.
I don't know. You guys agree?
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's a code in the box.
It's a code in the box. It's not even a game in the box. Good catch.
Code in the box.
Yes. Digital
code in the box.
Download, taking up part of your 256 gig memory, which again, we'll get to in a second. Launch lineup. I said the Mario Kart 10 or World or whatever it was. Metroid Prime 4, they tout as like a big addition. Didn't put as much weight to that as I expected, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not launching with it though, right?
They just say 2025 still. Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't announced the launch date for that one. And just kind of like, mouse controls, it's going to look prettier. Get the Switch version or the Switch 2 version. We don't really care. So I'm not really giving myself any points for Metroid Prime. 3D Mario, swing and a miss. Pokemon ZA getting some upgrades. Kind of the same as Metroid Prime. Like they didn't really get into specifics. They were like it'll run better, which for a Pokemon game on current hardware is like, thanks. What doesn't?
It's a win.
And some third party. We did get some big third party swings, so we'll talk about that in a bit.
We got a lot of third party. That's like not some third party, a lot of third party. Holy cow! I was wrote a list and I'm like, I just gave up.
Yeah.
You know, I swung for the Xbox and I struck out because there was nary a Microsoft game shown at the event. So I said MCC, so the Master Chief Collection, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and a 3D Mario. I scored negative points because I wasn't even close. So I didn't even mention anything. So there you go.
We had OS upgrades and features. I said GameCube, NSO, day one.
Yeah.
Nailed that one. Themes and a snappier OS. We haven't seen the OS. The C button stuff makes me think maybe the system is snappy enough that it can handle if it can handle 4 different video streams with voice chat and cameras as well as playing your own game. I'm going to guess that the base OS of this thing and hopefully the online store is a little snappier than the, cold molasses running up a hill that the Switch currently enjoys.
Yeah, wallpaper is
didn't show
very hard
anything.
on a system, Mark. Wallpaper is very hard on a system. And you know
Yeah.
what's even harder? Like wallpapers that change. That takes up like a lot of hardware usage. I mean, of course, then you had the 3DS that had stamps on screen. You could do whatever the hell you want with that thing. It was like a graffiti factory. Yeah.
That little crack rabbit sold you. Yeah, good times. I love that
Yeah,
stuff.
I said dynamic backgrounds. I said personality, and what I meant was like it's going to be goofy on the inside. And apparently, I got the bizarro version of that, like nothing. And then I said communication, so maybe I get points for that.
You get points for communication, big time.
Okay.
The C button is communication, as far as I'm like. That's what the C is for.
Yeah, did we all get the C button wrong or right?
I thought it was going to be something to do with like a mouse feature to switch it to the mouse or something. I wasn't quite sure, honestly.
I was like half right. Like I had read about this thing called Nintendo Campus, and so I knew it had something to do with like social, but I thought it would be more in depth. Like I thought it would be like kind of like Miiverse or like have like maybe there is that we just haven't shown it. Like I was thinking like a whole screen that's like friends and groups and chats and like different things like that you have on Xbox or PlayStation, and they didn't show everything, so there's still room for that.
Yeah,
but
they definitely didn't. They didn't show like how to add which friends to a chat.
No typing, rooms, no nothing.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot that we haven't seen. So you could be very like in the ballpark with some of that for sure. Did you guys have any other upgrades, features, stuff that we didn't see today that you're still kind of hoping for, or that you were hoping for that got dashed today? Any kind of hopes and dreams leading up to today's announcement?
Yeah, I mean, I thought there'd be a presence from Microsoft because that's what everybody was talking about. And like I was just as you were talking, I was looking at some other stuff. There's a lot of smoke for Oblivion remaster, and people are saying that's still coming this week on the 4th. But I don't understand.
Like the 3rd or 4th.
Oh yeah, Treehouse, right? 3rd and 4th. We'll talk about that too. Yeah.
But I don't like. I mean, okay, it's just a temperature check. Do you think Oblivion remake is a big enough IP where you can't just reveal it at a Treehouse or a tweet or a Xbox wire? Like this is something that's like event worthy. Or am I crazy? Because I think this is.
I think that's an Xbox event showcase. I think that's an Xbox event showcase item.
Think so.
Yeah. So what happens on the 4th? Like, what is it? Unless it's like the Asus like Project Canon like handheld thing, they're doing something. I don't know.
Well, I think it's just going to be Treehouse of the games they showed here. Is that right? I felt like that's what it was.
Yeah,
going to be
sorry,
more
that is true. But the rumor for Oblivion is that it's being revealed on the 4th. But I don't think it would be part of Nintendo. Yeah, I think it would be separate. But I don't know how.
Mark, remind me, didn't we have a game revealed at a Treehouse one year?
We've had several games revealed at Treehouses.
Okay.
So they are not
Oblivion
afraid.
Level?
No, not Oblivion level. I don't.
Typically, it's a Nintendo first party, right?
Yeah, they're not afraid to like show some cards randomly in a treehouse. That I don't know. I don't know if you guys love the treehouses. I will watch them occasionally, but when like a lot of times they're when I'm at work.
7 hours. It's 7 hours.
There's 7 hours. And it's just like, okay, well, I might tune in for some of that, but I'm definitely going to need a recap afterwards because, just what the hell. So, yeah, I can imagine them dropping something. You have to fill 7 hours with stuff. So I can imagine them, if not dropping something completely new, definitely getting more in depth with some of the stuff we saw in that kind of like third party sizzle reel that had like the new Marvel game and a couple of other things that like kind of went quick. Star Wars Outlaws was included in that one too.
I'm expecting deep dives into things we've seen. Like I don't know how you show Street Fighter 6 but not Oblivion remake in like the main stage. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. Like it can't. I don't know.
My thinking for that one is if Microsoft said, you know what, we're doing Oblivion, we're doing something, we're just going to drop it. Maybe we'll see a tease tomorrow with them saying like tune back in or tune in tomorrow. Here's a teaser. Here's a little thing. dropping some hints on social media and give like a 24-hour notice essentially to a trailer and a essentially a treehouse, and and then they could let other people, but I don't think they're going to let Nintendo have that one right off the bat, especially a couple of days early. So yeah, it would be weird timing if that's the case, but
I think it must be something else. Like I think it was Monday or Sunday, Asus tweeted out that tease for the Xbox handheld. And I don't think you tease that and then like let that sit for weeks. So whatever they're teasing probably gets revealed soonish. I'd be crazy to do it this week, but this is Xbox. Like they don't always make the right call. So who knows? I don't know.
Unless they can undercut it with price or something like that. Like if they come out swinging with it, because I've already seen some wind taken out of Nintendo's sales just based on the price alone, with people saying like, hey, you can get a Steam Deck for less money, or
Steam Deck OLED
comparable. ROG Ally was $350. Yeah, they were doing ROG Allies for $350.
And it was Steam Deck OLED 512 storage instead of 256, and it was like $10 less than the Mario Kart bundle of this thing. Like, you start doing those kind of comparisons. So if Xbox has something up their sleeve where they can come in and say, hey, this thing's an Xbox, it also does all of this kind of stuff, and it comes in at even $50 less than the Switch 2, man, that's that. Yeah, then you got that.
Will that play Mario Kart World for $80?
Are we talking legally or?
Yeah. It's
right.
So should we get into the meat of what the system really is going to be now, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, let's jump into what's in the box and what we get. So this Nintendo Switch, the Pro controllers, a new grip, the new Joy-Con controllers, new grip, the straps, the new dock. It's not compatible with the old dock. Ultra high speed HDMI. You have to get that 4K HDR. There's a new AC adapter. It will not work with the old one, and a USB-C charging cable. Again, will not work with the old ones. Needs a little bit more power. The hardware we did mention before has 256 gigs of storage. Unclear on the RAM. There's a 7.9 inch LCD screen, not OLED this time. 1080p screen with the big surprise for me being 120 frames per second. In the handheld screen, not only when it's docked, with HDR in
be bright
handheld mode and ready to go. So you're getting some of that stuff from the OLED. One of the nice things with the OLED was the kind of like brighter screen, more contrast, kind of faked HDR. This is just doing it. So I can't wait to see a comparison between the OLED and this, to compare current LCD technology versus, Switch LCD technology, which is, I say 8 years, but even then it wasn't like the newest, highest tech screen. So like it's old. But again, docked, this thing can do 4K, 60 frames per second, 1080p, 120. There's a fan built into the dock to make sure everything's cooled, all that kind of stuff. There is a microphone built in with noise cancellation, Wi-Fi 6, USB-C port on the top for charging in handheld or tabletop or however you want to do it. Also for accessories, there's a camera that comes or that they're selling with it day one for some of these chat features that we mentioned with the C button. The C button has like multi-person video streaming with webcam, audio, video chat with crazy stuff. So this is the first thing that I want to get into while we're talking about all this shenanigans. What are your guys' thoughts on that? On this, like, game sharing, game screen, 4 streams, local. Is this going to be like, this is our demo version, and in reality it's going to suck based on different people's internet streams and eat up all of your bandwidth, even if you have a gig connection, fiber connection, whatever it is? Or Or do you guys think like Nintendo has worked out some magic that this might actually work? What are your initial thoughts? Todd, I want to hear your thoughts on this like communication feature that's built into this thing.
I'm so happy we no longer have to use an app to talk to people. It seems too simple and too easy to work. So I am worried that there will be some shenanigans or hijinks, but I think it's very fun. I think especially with family members like Mark, if you have family members out of town or something, you want to play with them and seeing their face. And it's kind of like a fun, like I use NVIDIA broadcast. So I have a background behind me and I just pop in and it's like, you can get somebody on top of the gameplay and then they can stream their gameplay. That's not the game you're playing. So it's basically your group parties you join and then you can play together. Or you can play separately on your own games and just see what they're doing. You can change the size of your screen. It's super fun. I really am surprised about this. Obviously, they did talk about the parental controls because you can whitelist people, you can blacklist people because obviously you don't want, Xbox 360 Uno hijinks happening.
Yep.
But I think it's cool, Mark. I like it if it works well. But once again, we watched the video when it was happening. We saw their gameplay in the bottom and it was chugging. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Clint, how you feeling? I see you like nodding your head on the slowing gameplay kind of thing. You're hesitant?
One of the first things I noticed was that gameplay, like being frames just dropped to like 15. I think it'll work well with games like Mario Party and stuff where they briefly showed like a little face as the character's moving and stuff. Granted, we don't know the power that's underneath the hood here, but it's a Switch or Switch 2. I don't think there's going to be that much snappy power where there's going to have 4 games streaming on your TV with a game playing, audio, you talking back and forth, and it just not being smooth. Nintendo's known for their not fantastic online work with the Switch anyway. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Hey, Clint, can you turn up your mic a little bit?
Let's see if I can. Hold on here. Might be under something else.
it actually did get better when you sat a little bit forward. That could be part of the issue. Either moving the mic back or sitting closer.
How's that? Any better?
A little bit better, yeah, for sure.
Okay, let me play with it and move on.
Yeah, I just looked at your waveform, and folks, you're getting to have the fun. Your waveform looks really small compared to, and that's not a reflection of your personality. You're big in our hearts. So while Clint's fixing his microphone, Mark or Eric?
Yeah, I think the social features are definitely cool. Like it's something that probably should have been there with the original Switch at least, because they even had some stuff I think in the DS. Right, there was like I never had a DS, but they had like a chat or something. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Picto Chat was amazing.
Chat. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a step back with the Switch in that regard. So it's nice to see that. I honestly wasn't expecting live streaming, but from the demo, it doesn't look like it really works that well anyway. It's a little bit tricky when you have one screen because like if I'm streaming or if you're streaming a game, like you have probably a second monitor with like your chats and things. But in this case, like half your screen real estate for your game is gone when you use this mode. So it's kind of like the snap mode in the Xbox One. If you remember that, it like takes up so much that you just never use it. But it is really cool to see. I'd be interested to see hopefully in a treehouse, like more of that system in depth. Like, can you send messages? Can you have a more like a better friends list with more details, things like that?
Yeah.
In terms of game sharing though, that literally is Xbox One. They are doing what Xbox One did, but everybody loves it this time. And as somebody who was I still am a massive Xbox fan, but back in those days, Xbox was like my only console and I had to live through the constant doom scrolling and like all the pain. And now to see Nintendo doing the same thing, and getting praised for it and everyone thinking it's awesome. I don't know. It's a little bit bittersweet in that regard. I am curious about how the sharing sharing games between Switches works. Like, are you streaming the game or do you download a game kind of like how Split Fiction works? And then you get like an access key that you can temporarily play it because then you're playing it locally, which is actually pretty cool. If you're streaming it, then that's probably not going to be as cool. So there's more.
Definitely.
Just need more information, I would say.
Yeah, the tech behind it. Yeah, I'm very curious as well. I do wonder if it's similar to game lending that they announced a few days ago, where you can actually lend a digital version. They call it digital game carts or whatever they announced just a couple of days ago, where you can lend it out almost like a library kind of thing. You lend it out to someone, even if they move across the country or something like that, the game returns to you automatically after 2 weeks. But like if you're in the same place, you can kind of, change it back and forth. Like, oh, here, borrow, Pokemon Shield for a minute. And it's like, I kind of, I played it for 2 days. Yeah, well, I kind of want to play it again, so give it back. So I'm curious, if it is a full download kind of like that.
How did that work with like the DS games where it's like game share, where you had one copy but you could play with everyone else? Because was that like you beamed the copy to them, or how was that?
Most of the time for that one, so most of the time it was limited with the DS or the 3DS. Most of the time that worked by downloading a tiny packet of a game. So I'll use Mario Kart as an example. So if you didn't own a copy of Mario Kart DS, you could join in someone else's game, but you were limited with the amount of stages you could play, I believe. And I think you could only pick Shy Guy. Now, if you played and the download was minuscule, so you could it was great for very quick kind of like, hey, try this game out. Let's play an online match. Let's have a little battle mode. Like, it worked, but it was also kind of an incentive demo mode to be like, hey, what would be way better if you went out and bought a damn copy of this game yourself. So like, and you kind of didn't want to be the person that was holding the group back. Like, let's say if you did have a good 4-person friend group and you were the one person that had to be Shy Guy and you were the reason that we couldn't play all the stages, it's an incentive to be like, hey, maybe let's go get you a copy of this game. But it all those things aside, it was a positive, especially back in those days where like, you had to be sitting next to the person, but if I was the host, you could download this little bite-sized chunk of the game. We could still play it. We could still have fun. It still worked really well. And it was better than nothing. So if it works like that, maybe I'm guessing it would, in this case, just be the full game download and then it disappears afterwards. But yeah, we'll see. I guess that makes the most sense to me rather than streaming it. But I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to be like, hey, you can share it, but it's streaming from your console.
Yeah.
So
I mean, do they have like you're making maybe like a local Wi-Fi network? It's just using the Wi-Fi to transfer, but that's not very fast, but it's Wi-Fi 6. That's a weird thing, and I assume it is because everything else is tied to like local Wi-Fi, but you are part of a family or you're part of a plan, and by just having complete strangers. So Nintendo must be like, stranger danger. Once you are 50 feet away from that stranger, it's gone. That's my guess.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The way it works with other games right now, like Midnight Murder Club is perfect. Like I can invite people to play that with me that don't own it, but you have to download a separate kind of, I don't know what I would call it, a separate client, but there's like a separate thing in the store, like a guest edition that you download.
Yeah.
And then you can play that for free. But then that means that every game in the eShop now is going to have 2 like SKUs. So that doesn't really make sense. So yeah, I would love if they gave us more information, Nintendo, maybe like a PDF or something, like a FAQ. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed like right after they dropped a ton of crap, right? A lot of information finally came out.
Yeah. There's a ton of stuff, and I think we won't get through all of that today because to be completely honest, I worked and then packed and kind of like watched this direct again, like finished it 4 minutes before we started recording. So my evening's been crazy. So I know there is more information that exists out there and more information to come. The nice thing is that all of these questions are going to be answered in 2 months. Because this thing is going to be in people's hands in 2 months. So pretty crazy to think about. I mentioned the 120 frames per second as a big surprise to me. Another one that I found, I guess, kind of surprising, not fully, but a little bit. Micro SD express cards being the only option for this. Have you guys looked into price and availability of micro SD express cards? Because Amazon Canada did not have a great selection. So that I'm wondering if this is going to be a pain in the ass. I know it comes with 256 in the box versus 32, but if you can move your 99% of your Switch library over to this stupid thing, you're going to need more storage really, really freaking quick. And a micro SD express card, if they're hard to get a hold of, could be one of those unseen pain points where this thing is launching in 2 months in people's hands.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Todd.
I was going to say that the really interesting part about the reason why they're doing this is just because speed, because since they don't have an SSD, they need something else. So quite honestly, these cards, they're going to be more expensive, but they are worth it because
100%.
the transfer speed is significantly faster. We're talking like 800 megabytes per second versus I think 150 megabytes per second.
Oh, yeah,
so we're talking like 4 times faster. They've been out essentially, about a year. And that's why they're so expensive, but they will get cheaper. But I think that expect double the cost of your current, like just standard SD card. So I think that's fair because I remember when the first Switch came out, like you can get a 1 terabyte, but it's $450 or something like that. And it's like, so I'm like, my expectations in Switch games are pretty small. I wouldn't sweat it too hard. And once again, you're going to be able to re-download your stuff anyway. So you might have to do a little bit of that, like juggling of your stuff. But
Switch
you know what?
We've
at least
small.
Yeah.
These are 4K HDR
sure.
games.
Yeah,
they're no longer
at least we have more than 32 gigabytes on our systems.
Yeah,
which is the size of one game.
I'm thinking of how annoying it is on my Xbox Series X with 512, and I'm constantly you run into a big game, and it does not take long for that to fill up. You know, I don't know about you guys. For my Series X, I'm constantly juggling. When I get a big, AAA kind of release, it's like, oh, great. Which 6 effing games am I deleting now? Oh, I can't delete this because my kid loves it. So I guess I'm deleting a game that I love and I'm not quite ready to let go of, but I have to.
I bought the card.
And that's 512. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like $60 for 256 gigabytes. So not too bad. It'll get better. Which the worst part though is, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but the game cards that actually have no game on them, it's essentially just DRM, like game discs. They're calling it game key cards. So Street Fighter 6, you buy it. There's not one single gigabyte of game on that card, and it's completely downloadable. And that game is $60. So the only reason I think this is happening is because Nintendo knows the cost of those SD cards that they use, or every cards, are so expensive, and then the game size are going to get bigger. They're not going to then swallow that cost. They don't have $100 cart game, so that's why I'm thinking it's weird, because it's Nintendo probably can shrink their games down. That's true. Nintendo can probably switch their games down to a smaller size to fit, but when it's NBA 2K or whatever those games are, even Call of Duty coming on, you think there's going to be a Call of Duty cart that has 256 gigabytes on it? No. So I think this is just to get around third party having to fit on a bigger card, that they're just going to keep the cost cheaper. But once again, physical games are a thing of the past. Even if you have something to hold, it doesn't have the game on it.
Yeah, so I definitely have thoughts about this, because this is something that I have a stake in a little bit, physical games. So the cool thing about the carts is that it's going to allow digital only games to have or even games that have digital options to have a retail presence, which is good for retailers, because we want GameStop to stay open. We want the video game section at Best Buy to stay there, and things like that. At least I do. So that's cool. Also, when you used to buy a digital game for Switch and it was a code in the box, once you use the code, like it's on your profile. You can't sell it, you can't trade it, you can't lend it. It's stuck to your profile. In this case, you have some flexibility because you'll be able to trade this cart back, sell it, lend it, whatever.
Yeah.
So those two things are cool.
That's a good point.
What I think sucks and what like is this is some sort of a slippery slope because on Switch 1, most of the games were on the cart, and most of the time you just plop the cart in and you can play it, and it's super fast, but it's also preserving the game. It's like all the carts I have behind me, like I can pop those into my Switch in 20 years, assuming the Switch still works, and they'll work, and it's awesome for preservation. It's awesome for collectors. But to Todd's point, the games, the publishers are not going to want to lose portions of their revenues, because if Witcher 3 is like, I don't know, 50 gigs and it doesn't fit on a 32 gig card and they have to get a 64 gig card, then that eats out of their profit. And you're going to have a hard time convincing publishers to do that. And I think that eventually you'll get to a point where people are like, oh, our game's only 10 gigs, but it's still cheaper to have this like tiny card with nothing on it than even a 32 gig like Switch cart. So we'll just keep doing this. And then eventually people are going to be like, well, if all the games are digital anyway, but I still have to have it in my console, why don't I just buy it from the eShop? Because then I can just have them all here. And, and I have a feeling that this is just kind of because Nintendo was like the shining knight for physical game collectors, where they were the ones where we still do it. There's still lineups. We still have midnight launches. GameStops are full of our carts. Like this is like the collector's console kind of. And this is like probably the worst thing that anyone's done for game collecting in a long time. Which potentially, I guess, it's a slippery slope. So kind of sad, but it's aside from the pricing and things like that, it's probably my least hyped announcement.
Clint, how you feeling about this?
I don't know. Am I coming through a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Way better.
Much better. Much
Awesome.
better.
Good. I just got a new PC today, or built it, so I'm still kind of finagling some things. The physical aspect really upset me today because I am also a huge physical person. So yeah, it was extremely upsetting to see not only the price going to be $80 digitally for some games, $90 physical, and that physical isn't even the whole thing that's on there. Like you said, Street Fighter 6 isn't even on there at all. The other one they noticed was the Bravely Default HD remaster is not on it at all. So you have to download it.
Game either.
And it's just, so it's just and like Eric was saying, Nintendo was always like, it's you just pop a card in, you're good to go. It's been a very physical friendly thing, and we all know that physical is a dying breed, and it's more, I think Nintendo sadly has now pushed it today that it is going to be a collector's thing to get physical. You're going to be paying a premium, just like for people who want actual 4K movies on a disc. It's
Criterion, right?
Yeah, it's a premium. So I think that's the way that we're going, and Nintendo making the push for it is going to make the whole gaming side go really hard into that, which sucks.
Clint, you'll get your collectible game cart that has nothing on it. It'll be so cute.
I wonder if they'll still taste bad, though. They must, right?
I hope so. We don't even know the flavor of Switch 2 games. Yeah. They are going to be red, and the box is going to be red, so that's exciting, right?
Strawberry flavored. I don't know.
Oh, you went strawberry. I'm thinking spicy.
Oh, flaming hot Switch cart?
I was thinking more
flavored Switch games.
I would eat those like Doritos. I was thinking something like, like the last dab or like Da Bomb from Hot Ones kind of thing. Is like, you don't want that anywhere near you.
In Canada, they're all dressed, by the way.
All dressed. Oh man.
Yes.
I will be going through those like an addiction.
Yep.
That'll be that. Eric, I never thought about it in that perspective though, because I have a couple of those Switch games that you open up the pack and there's nothing in it but a code, and I can use that, but I can never give it to someone else. So at least this way, even if it's a key card, I suppose, then you could kind of give that to someone else and they have the key card.
Yep.
So that is, I guess, one positive
Benefit.
for me anyway, one benefit of being able to at least resell a key card or do that kind of thing, which is kind of nice. Speaking of games, I want to get everyone's opinions on just, I guess, some of the highlights of the games. We don't have to go through every single game. I'll run through some of the first party things that we saw very quickly. We saw obviously Mario Kart World. We saw Mario Party Jamboree, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby Forgotten Land, Metroid Prime, Pokemon, and they're just the ones that are getting like upgrades. So we also got Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I have some thoughts on that one. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Drag and Drive, Hyrule Warriors, and Kirby Air Riders. There are a few others.
These are the only sequel or like exclusive, Mark, that I could find from first party. That were announced. So those are the ones that I saw that were announced. And then from the third party perspective, I couldn't find many other Switch 2 exclusives except for From Software, the Duskbloods, Damon X Machina, which I'm surprised that came at Titanic Scion. And the one thing I just put this one out here too is funny. Amiibos are back, and there was Street Fighter 6. So odd that was thing. I'm like, that's a thing.
They're doing Amiibos. For Hyrule Warrior as well. They're doing the.
Oh God, I didn't see that.
Amiibos for Hyrule Warriors. So Amiibos are compatible and back. But of all the games that they talked about, the ones that we've just listed or other ones completely that we just kind of glossed over, anything that stands out? What was your kind of like big gaming moments or moments that were like, the welcome tour? What stood out to you? Either
the unwelcome tour is the better way to say it.
Yeah. Todd, I want to start with you on this one. What was making you happy or sad about these game announcements?
So I'm going to start positive. So my pro controller moment, is got to be the Donkey Kong Bonanza. Made me so happy. We didn't get a Mario Kart platformer, but we got a open world digging adventure that is all about the punching and the hitting. Like for some reason, Donkey Kong just punches people when he meets them, like that ostrich, and now they're friends. So odd. The sexy donkey lady, awesome adventures. I am so into this game. It makes me so happy that we're going to have another awesome Nintendo platformer coming out in July. I am all in. I've gone bonanzas. Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, Go to Zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
I like it. So Brendan Myers, you did mention Joy Cons and Pro controllers. So Brendan Myers suggested, in honor of the late great Bobby Paul as a Nintendo guru, you can list something here as a hot trash in the summer moment, something that you are saying, Joy, that's a con, or Pro controller. What announcement got you hyped and excited? That you're looking forward to. So Todd, you just gave us one of the pros. Clint, pro for you. What kind of stood out?
I'm super happy that we're finally getting a new Mario Kart because it has been far too long. But probably the highlight for me as well, after learning some facts about some of the other games announced, probably Donkey Kong as well for me. And that it's going to be like 3D, but it almost looked like it had a quick mix of 2D in there too. So,
absolutely. Yeah. There was some Donkey Kong Country Returns style 2D levels for sure.
And I'm sure Seth Rogen is doing the voice.
I hope so. That'd be great. He was good.
He does look like a younger Donkey Kong in this.
Yeah.
He does. Yes.
Yeah. Do you guys think he's wearing pants just so you don't have to stare at his butthole in 4K the whole time?
We missed out.
Like,
That's a good point.
Mark, you went there. Good job.
I did. You know what? You talked about the sexy female ape. I'm thinking about third-party camera following Donkey Kong.
Was the sexy ape full? Was she fully clothed? I know she was maybe fully clothed. I don't know. Maybe I imagined rendering.
I was distracted thinking about staring up the barrel of Donkey Kong for 40 hours.
The barrel.
I don't know, man. I was just like, thanks for the pants, Nintendo. You thought of that one. There's got to be an early demo of this when someone like zoomed the camera the wrong way. I was just like, okay, all right, 4K.
Wait, Donkey Kong always had pants? I can't remember.
No.
He's had a tie though, because that's important.
Tie. Yeah,
you gotta look fashionable.
Never fully dressed without a tie.
Donald Duckin is Donald Duckin, right? Yeah,
he's Donald Duckin. He's full on Winnie the Pooh in it,
or
and
Porky Piggin. I don't know whatever they call it. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Eric, aside from Donkey Kong beeholes, or maybe that's your pro. What stood out?
I mean, I did think Donkey Kong looked awesome. I am a huge Donkey Kong fan. I haven't really played a 3D one though, so I'm looking forward to that. I do think it's cool that Mario Kart's kind of like borrowing, let's say, from Forza Horizon. This is like a Forza Horizon Mario Kart, which is pretty neat. 24 players. I think it's going to be pretty fun, assuming I can find 24 friends with a Switch. It's been a struggle for me to find like 3. So we'll see, especially at this price. But I will say, just so I don't have something original to say, I think that confirming 4K 60, 1080, 120 for Prime 4 is pretty sweet.
Absolutely.
Yep. I was surprised by that. Which is nice.
Yeah. For me, I mean, Donkey Kong, obviously a big standout, but I always like Hyrule Warrior games as like a fun little adventure if you feel like killing 70,000 people. That's a really good way to let off that kind of steam. It's like if you want to eat 10,000 of something, just have rice. Like it's that kind of like scratches a certain kind of itch in my brain. So that's always nice. But I geeked out over the GameCube announcement. I know it's not like the newest, bestest kind of thing, but like as like the guy with a Wind Waker tattoo, that one, they knew what they were doing. They knew who they were talking to, and they were talking directly to this guy who put an insane amount of hours in Wind Waker and Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube, and just lost my ever loving mind when they were like, "This is day one, sucker." That was for me. That was
Mark. On that note, they did say the games will have better visuals. So I'm wondering if this is the same tech they did on like the Super Mario 3D All Stars collection, because we already got Sunshine in that, and so it's shown up again as a new game. So in the games, I think called out. It was basically going to be Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2 with Link. Oh, hello. F-Zero GX, which is what everyone wants. And then the better performance of visuals, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of blah, 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 and then Pokemon Coliseum, Mark. So you're getting some quality games.
And some weird stuff like Chibi Robo and like GameCube had some weird things, and I expect this list to grow with some of those weirder, like more overlooked kind of games. Like I'm pumped for this, especially when it's coming day one. Like that's gonna be great. However,
plus a controller.
I already have a GameCube controller that works with the Switch, so I'm hoping that is compatible. But if not, I will still buy this because I love the GameCube controller for GameCube games. I think it's a great design and a great button layout. However, I will throw out a caveat to this that I wish we still had the option for the Wii U version of Wind Waker, specifically with the Swift Sail or whatever that was called, like those kind of upgrades. I know they were like, hey, it's going to look prettier. It's going to look better than it ever did on the original console. And it's like, I'm glad you threw in on the original console because the thing looked great, played great, and had some great quality of life features on the Wii U. And you guys just like, for some reason, haven't done file save as Switch and made $1 billion off of that stupid remake.
And Twilight Princess too.
Decent. And Twilight Princess, same kind of deal. I don't know, but I am very, very excited for that. I am excited not for Civilization 7, but I am excited that I got it right that game was coming with mouse support. I'm not interested in playing it, but like good. Because I've heard.
You know what else is cool with mouse support, gentlemen? It's Metroid Prime 4 with mouse control. Yes. So basically, it's using mouse for aiming, and then the other Joy-Con for movement. That is ideal, and I just want something for PC that I can use instead of using the keyboard, mouse, and thing.
So, all right, I have to give a shout out from my brother that Elden Ring and Duskbloods was such a massive get and such a flex for Nintendo that was awesome. He is super into like From Software games. That's his jam. He was geeking out about that earlier. But back to the mouse support. I want to ask you guys, practically, how do you play Switch? Do you see yourself playing with mouse controls on things, changing a setup? Are you going to get like something for your lap that you can use a lap board? Like, do you see this as more than just like a gimmick? Is this something you're excited about? Are you going to try what was it called? Dragon Drive.
Yeah, it's a mouse only game where you use both Joy-Cons as mice, which is awesome. It's like that one. What's that one movie? It was a documentary about. It was called Basket Brawl, I think, where it was about all these quadriplegics or paraplegics that play basketball and they end up punching each other. This game looks like Rocket League on wheelchairs. Yeah. Basketball. It's amazing.
I don't know if I love the gimmicky controls. I love the concept of the game. I love like that kind of competitiveness, and I love that they're doing it with wheelchair basketball. But the controls, there's something about the gimmicky double mouse controls that it's just like shit. Like when I said I was playing arms earlier,
you raise it up to shoot.
Yeah, and I said I was playing arms earlier.
Shoot. Yeah, it's very weird.
And wanted to play arms. He even hates the gimmicky arm controls. We played with 2 pro controllers on the couch and had a great time playing 2 versus 2 arms. So how do you guys feel about the mouse control and the games that we've seen so far? Is it going to change, or are you still just going to be like, give me a pro controller and shut up? Todd, how are you feeling?
I like the idea of it. It is the practicality of how you use it, because I'm not one that would just put the Switch down on a table and use it in tabletop mode, because I don't want to. And when I'm on the TV, to your point, Mark, I need a lap board or something to allow me to use my Joy-Cons in a way that would make sense. So I think the idea is cool. The implementation, if we get a Nintendo, if they turn all those, like, what is it, the Wii Fit boards, and they just turn them into Switch lap boards, maybe that's how we do it.
I could do that.
There you go.
Clint.
That's what we're doing. Everybody get a Switch or Wii U Wii Fit board.
Balance board. There we go. Clint, you just built a new PC. Is that somewhere that you usually game? Would you move your Switch over there and just kind of, work it on the desk, or how you feeling with this one?
I hope it's not a gimmick. I am a huge PC gamer. Usually I play console as well too, but I'm more of a PC player. So I don't know, like how sensitive is this mouse on the Switch? Is it very, because they got to think, kids are going to be playing this well. So is it going to be very like slow, or is it going to have a high, what's the word I'm looking for? DPI. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to have a high DPI. I hope it does, but I don't think it will. I think it's going to be extremely gimmicky, sadly. I hope I'm wrong. It feels like that's what it's going to be, especially for someone that plays on PC a lot, that has a, high quality mouse and stuff. I know I'll be able to pick up the difference and just be like, okay, I'll just go to console to controller mode. But for games like Civilization 7 and stuff, to be able to be on the Switch and giving those people that options is great. For people that don't play with PC or something, or on mouse, and then maybe they'll use it and be like, hey, this is actually really cool for shooters and stuff, and then maybe get into it more. So, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I kind of wonder if with the second USB-C input on this, like in the top of could you play with an actual mouse? Like if you had a good quality gaming mouse, can you have a Joy-Con in one for like movement, and then, an actual good high DPI gaming mouse ready to go for like the shooting controls and something like Metroid?
Because it supports Bluetooth, so you could support a Bluetooth mouth or a USB dongle, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That would be great if you could do that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's super gimmicky. I think that the wheelchair basketball game looks really cool, but I have a feeling, just based on what they did with 1-2 switch, because I think that's kind of like the 1-2 switch of this console. I think they'll probably price it out of it being like a successful. Like I would have bought 1-2 switch for like $30, but I would never have bought it for $80, which is what it cost in Canada. I think this game will probably come out and be $80, and it would be a non-starter for me. In terms of using it for something like Metroid, I bought that too, but I bought it for $30.
I bought it for $5, I think, on clearance or whatever.
Yeah, so
it's a memento.
Yeah,
everybody 1-2 switch.
I thought the same thing that you guys thought about Metroid and being able to use the mouse aim. But then if you just think like the next step forward, like how do you jump? How do you use items? How do you like you need to be able to press more buttons. And if you flip your Joy-Con over, like how are you hit that's
you've only got what, 2 buttons?
That's what I mean. Like I'm
2 buttons on the mouse.
Regular Joy-Cons in this hand, and you're using it with the.
But now you don't have A, B, X, Y. You don't have R1.
Yeah, what's your jump button and stuff like that?
Yeah, you've got 2 buttons, right? Oh no, and you've got to figure out, like, are you going to really be able to figure out all your buttons on, like, is your mouse, is your thumb? Can your thumb unlearn?
How do you pause?
Yeah, that might be difficult.
So I don't think I think it's going to be a complete gimmick. I think that it's not going to be practical for most games, but I will say using it for something like Civ is cool, but also I could, on my Xbox, I can plug a mouse into this. I could plug
keyboard
this
mouse. If you want.
Well, I could plug that mouse into it and have a real mouse. So like, it's
broke.
not like this crazy innovative thing. The thing that would have sold me on it is if they had Mario Paint, but they don't have Mario Paint.
Yes,
biggest missed opportunity.
It has to be coming with that option. It has to.
Yeah.
Even if it's Mario Paint, or maybe it's like just something that really is utilizing those features in a really unique way. It made me think of the Jamboree, Mark. We saw Mario Party Jamboree with Jamboree Party Plus or whatever. And it does have mouse games, which is and it showed it like with a little like you were putting, and it was using kind of like the precision of mouse controls. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, but to your point, is this more than a gimmick? Like a lot of Nintendo stuff, it's good for like one thing, and then it's like you never think about it again.
Nintendo could make a very specific thing for it. If you look at the Switch with all the things that were in the Joy-Cons, they made Super Mario Party, and everybody hated it, but that was basically a demo of all the Joy-Con stuff.
Yeah,
and then they made Superstars and took all that stuff out, and everybody loved it. So like,
yeah.
You
and
never know.
Jamboree was so good, and now they're adding the gimmicks into it.
Yeah.
Which
Yes. With the upgrade, right? Yeah.
If you upgrade.
Which, yeah, we didn't even talk about the
We'll get into
upgrades, but
cons.
essentially, yeah. So the cool thing is, and I'll sit on this really quick. So we are getting Switch 2 editions, which are upgraded. You can buy them day one with all those upgrades in it for basically $70, I think. Or you can pay for an upgrade pack to add all those features in. We don't know how much those upgrade packs are, but at least it's like it's like the PlayStation. If you already own the game, it's $10 more to get the remaster. So I'm glad they're doing that versus just saying, "Oh no, you can only get that in the $70 edition." So I'll give them props. But that was actually one of the comments we got, Mark, from some of the social commentary. Basically, it was basically was it Sam G said charging for basic upgrades that came free for most games on Xbox and PS5. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And then also the same thing, like, why are we seeing Switch 2 edition games that are costing the same as Switch 2 exclusive games, like the Donkey Kong game? And it does make you think, I'm like, I know Nintendo games hold their value, but it gets to the point where it's like, this is now a 8-year-old game, and the updates in that are just kind of like, so I think the biggest thing, and we could probably get into like the Bobby Paul's hot trash in the summer now, because I think there's a lot of people that have the common thread about the value proposition.
Yeah, let's get into those. And this can be anything if it's the value proposition. For me, I'm going to start this off by saying, like, why is Welcome Tour not a free pack in? Why did they made a point to be like, you can purchase this game digitally day one. And it's like, hey, what do magnets do on the Joy-Con 2s? Like, you really? No. Like, bad Nintendo hit you with a newspaper. So that was one for me, aside from like, like the prices and all that kind of stuff. But like, that kind of stuff, I can be like, okay, whatever, like prices are going to be prices and this is going to be this. But like, that one was just like egregious to me for some reason. So that's my biggest hot take, hot trash in the summer take. Eric.
Well, that one was one for me for sure. Okay. And you got to ask yourself, if this company is going to charge me money for the pack-in game, what are they going to charge me for the Tears of the Kingdom upgrade? Yeah. Like, maybe it's not $10, maybe it's $30. Like, anyway. I'll say something different though. This is a truly unexpected problem that I had, because I was like all aboard or championing the train of, okay, a more powerful Switch means all these third-party games were going to come to Switch now, and more people are going to be able to play these games, and it's a great thing. More those games will sell more copies, yada yada. What I didn't expect, but what I should have expected, is now Nintendo can go to these third parties and money hat exclusives out of them and prevent us from playing Yakuza 0 Director's Cut on PS4, even though I have them all here, or prevent me from playing the next FromSoft game, which, like your brother, I'm a massive FromSoft fan, and I would much rather play that at 4K 60 on a PS5 Pro or an Xbox or a PC instead of probably 1080p sub 30, which is probably what it's going to be. If you looked at the Elden Ring trailer, that was not even locked, not locked 30. So now Nintendo is able to do what Sony does and block me out of more third-party games, which is like, that was like, I was just like blindsided by that. I was like, this makes so much sense, but it never crossed my mind that this could happen now. So now you have two companies that are going to be out there pouching games that preventing people from playing them for no reason. Because I don't think this game, I mean, maybe the FromSoft one would, but like something like Yakuza is not going to sell more or less Switches. That's just like, it makes no sense for that to not be on PlayStation or Xbox or PC. But that's something I'll add.
For sure. Clint, what kind of
like you said, the whole tour thing was like their huge ripoff of Astro, and then dulling it down and then charging for it, which I don't think we know the price yet for it, but either way, anything is too much for that. The thing that I also didn't really like was the when they were talking about the party chat and stuff. I was like, that's cool and all, but they're like, oh, it's behind a paywall. Like, you have to be
starting in March 2026, I think.
Oh my God, see that.
Like, in order to have, it's not even like to play online. If you just want to have a party chat with someone, no, you have to pay for it. And it's like,
Yeah.
if they're going to
Is-
start charging for this and the, like
Is
you
it the
said,
same on
the
Xbox or
tour-
PlayStation?
No.
Yes.
I know-
It is not?
No,
Oh, is it?
you don't have to
No,
pay
it's
for it.
not.
You didn't even have to pay for that on 360.
Oh, it's only playing online versus just
playing
talking
online,
to people.
but for like
voice
party
chat.
chats, stuff like that, that's free.
that.
So for Nintendo to do it with their crappy online, like, what are you going to do? Type in everybody's 7-digit number? And
did you know there's an app for that on Nintendo Switch?
God, the app. I'm just that was another
That's
like
free to use, right?
it's like, hey, use this app to a map and stuff. And I'm like, why do I want to hold up a phone while I'm looking at a game? It's just it's not for me. And for the whole From Software thing, when the Bloodlust was announced, I was like over the moon. I was on an emotional roller coaster because I was so high, because I was like, oh, this is their kick to Sony saying this is Bloodborne, we're just renaming it a little different. And then I found out it was a multiplayer PvP VE, and I was like, oh. But it's still a huge get for Nintendo to have an exclusive From Software, but that definitely deflated my sales.
Is their audience though? It's a PvE versus PvE. Yep. Does it hit their audience? I know they've had they had Dark Souls 1. They haven't had Sekiro. They haven't had the other games.
They haven't.
And it just feels like
launch.
No.
I mean, it just feels like it's not a right. It doesn't fit the console for what they got.
Right.
I mean, they're getting Elden Ring, which is cool.
It's a new console. They're starting. I mean, I know it's Switch 2, but they've made a point.
It's only exclusive for that console, though. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's weird.
But that's the thing is with this new console, it's kind of an excuse or an opportunity to start over, bring in a new audience that maybe doesn't associate, rightfully so, the Switch 1 with those kind of experiences or those kind of games. And this could be like that starting fresh point of like, yeah, we have some like PvP, PvE, online multiplayer, voice chat, video chat, all that kind of stuff. Friendship, communication is a big part baked into this console. So we want more games that are like that for this. And this is the first one that they're showing off, and it's a big partnership. So I'm kind of respecting Nintendo to have the balls to do that for something with Switch 2, because they very easily could have been like, hey, it's just better and prettier and faster, and it plays the same kind of games. But for this one, they are kind of saying like, yeah, brand new game that you wouldn't have seen on Switch 1. You wouldn't have associated with Switch 1. And we're trying something new. We hope you kind of like see us as finally an online communication console. It sucks that it's behind a paywall.
And exclusive.
And exclusive. Yeah, that's, but yeah, it's at least an interesting take for me. Just from
Mark
that
is going to become a big Souls fan now. He's just going to, I got it. Switch 2 converted me.
It's not my type of game, so I don't really have anything invested in it.
Yeah.
To get pissed off about like the logistics of being a console exclusive and not being able to do this and that. But for the perspective of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, of they're trying something different. They want to be associated with this type of game. They want to be associated with something that's more persistently online and more communicative. I thought that was an interesting note, like of this one as a different take from Nintendo, where a lot of this was just like, hey, it's like a really pretty cool looking Donkey Kong open world game that, yeah, it looks like a Nintendo game. We're like, hey, here's Mario Kart. And now you can drive off the track. That kind of stuff is expected, where online multiplayer, online communication of any kind, for me, is not something that I'm like, yeah, Nintendo does that. You know what I mean? So like that.
At least we're not using emojis for communication.
Yeah.
Like Freedom Force or Federation Force or whatever it's called. Yeah, that's not a great way to play.
But hearing you guys like, have your grievances because you're interested in the game, I understand that. But for me, who's just like kind of like stepping back and looking at it from like, oh, that surprised me. It's like, oh shit, that's what they're trying to do. Okay, cool.
Definitely surprising. There's no one
sure.
that was not surprised by that, I guarantee, unless like you're R Miyazaki. Yeah. Like there's
Well, he was just pissed off they couldn't make a Kirby game like Sakurai is coming back with Kirby, which that, you know what? I'm going to give my hot trash in the summer right now. The fact that we're getting a Kirby Air Riders game rather than we're getting that Kid Icarus 3DS remake that needs to come to the system. That's my hot trash in the summer. Why do we need another Kirby game? Screw you, Kirby.
Game too.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's so weird. I don't know anything.
And that racing game comes out in like a 4-month window.
I thought it was Robobot. I'm like, come on, that's the Kirby game everyone wants. But other than that, I think my biggest hot trash in the summer is the value equation. We're getting $80 games now. $70 games is kind of the norm. Third party, we are seeing a mix of values. Brave Default is $40. We're getting Street Fighter 6 for $60, but you have to download the game. I struggle with that, especially since it's a family platform. If we're starting at $450 for a console now, how much will be the Switch Lite version of this console? $350. That's a lot of money. And that's not a give Finn your Switch 2 price at this point. Yeah. So I just feel like there's just this may be the era of the greedy Nintendo where we don't have the old guard anymore. We have the maximize profit Nintendo because it's a challenge. And we've never seen a Nintendo system that will essentially be more expensive than an Xbox Series S and a PlayStation Slim 5, which is $400 right now, including Astrobot. So that is a hard thing to do, especially in an economy that sucks. And I just worry that Nintendo is going to falter where they need to really embrace their audience and its family having multiple Switches. I just don't see at this price point people owning multiple Switches at this price point. It just is. But I do value their approach into sharing game libraries. At least it's better than it has been. But and that Switch library game thing. I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. But again, they charged $60 for everybody 1-2 Switch or 1-2 Switch and everybody 1-2 Switch. So they made mistakes have been made. So Nintendo, don't get greedy. Don't fall on your own sword.
The price, instantly turned us from like a 2 Switch 2 household because my wife and I were both planning on getting one, assuming that the price was a little bit better than it is. And now it's like, we might probably get mine one and then hold off and keep the OLEDs for now, and I'll hand mine down to Finn and have the new one, and then my wife will just keep her OLED and be happy with that for the time being. One question, everyone's kind of talking about the price of game, price of the console. Is it a complete turnoff for anyone here or anyone that you guys have seen? Putting your money where your mouth is, or not putting your money in something. Speaking with your wallet, is anyone after today holding out on a pre-order, holding out on this altogether, skipping Switch 2? Has this changed your mind, or are you just kind of like sticker shock? I already registered to buy one from Nintendo. How you guys feeling? Because I like instantly went and still, like I said, didn't pre-order 2, probably not going to pre-order 2, but I did do that intent to buy from Nintendo for what it's worth. Eric,
I started today thinking there's nothing that could happen that would make me not buy this. And the price is a problem, but of the console, that is a problem. But that's something that if that was the only thing, it would be nothing. I was expecting to pay around 500, 550. It is more than that, obviously, but whatever. The things that all the other stuff we talked about is really what bugs me more. The game costs going up, it really bugs me more. The physical costs going up really bugs me more. The thing that is, I don't know if it's true for you guys, but the Switch will never be my main platform because it's always going to be the worst device I have. So this push to make it so much powerful to support the third parties doesn't apply to me, because I would never buy a third party game I would never choose to buy it there. I'd rather buy it on PC, PlayStation, Xbox. So this extra cost to support that, like I don't know if that's not going to push me there. And if I'm only buying it for the Switch exclusives, the first party games, and the only first party game is Mario Kart, which I'm not going to play a ton of, especially if not a lot of my friends get it. And like a lot of people have sticker shock right now, so I don't know how many of my friends are going to get it. The one reason why I haven't fully committed to not getting it though is because like if I do get it, I will be selling my OLED to like help pay for it. And the value of that OLED is just going to keep getting worse. So if I wait a year, then the OLED value is worse. And is the Switch price
GameStop, I think, is offering like $175 trade in the US.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking I could probably get $300 for it just as a local.
Oh, wow.
Like
Yeah.
Sure.
But just like selling it.
Marketplace.
Got it. Yep. Yeah. Facebook Marketplace.
Mine's adult owned. It's mint. It's OLED. It's whatever. And that's like almost half. That's almost half. Yeah. Well, I take good care of my games. I'm not very mature, but in that aspect, yeah, it's alphabetical. It's perfect.
Touches it, massages it.
I have
Steam cleans it.
Tempered glass screen protector included for free. But anyone
Vapes,
listening,
only healthy things. Yeah.
So that if theoretically, let's say I get 300 for it, then that's like half the cost there. And next year I probably wouldn't get 300 for it. And next year the cost of the Switch 2 is probably not going to change. So I don't know. I'm tempted to wait for a date for Prime. Maybe even like a special edition for Prime. Maybe wait till the fall. I don't know. So like, I don't know. I'm definitely was 100% yes. Now I'm like 50-50, I would say. I did sign my intent to buy.
Okay. The special edition thing, Metroid, a Pokemon game, they always do Pokemon special editions, Metroid special edition. Like that one's real for sure. Clint, how you feeling?
I'm not happy about it.
No.
The price for the console was that's okay for me because like what Eric said, I'm going to sell my OLED to get it, so it'll knock it down by like half or whatever. The thing that makes me mad is the game cost, even $80-$90, because the Switch for me it's a first party console. That is it for me, because 95% of the other games I'll either play on PC, PS5, Xbox, where they're just going to be better. And that's where the price tag of the first party games annoys me, because the first party games will be great. We know they will be, but they're not going to have ray tracing. They're not going to have super good graphics. So I'm paying $90 for a game that, yeah, it's fun, but it's not flashy. It's not deep. It's, so I'm just really not happy about the game price at all. And I will get one. I don't know if it'll be right at launch or soon after, but the only reason I am is because I can sell my OLED and I can get one for half price. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would wait, because there's not really any first party games. But Donkey Kong looks great, but it's not a console seller for me. But in order to get the maximum value out of my OLED, so I'm not paying as much for this, I have to buy it soonish. So yeah, I'm 50-50. I got to get over this hump of being mad at Nintendo today. So maybe I'll be in a better state when pre-orders go live. But yeah.
And they did space it out, I think smartly. They spaced it out a week. So pre-orders go live on the 9th. My busiest day in Disney at Magic Kingdom, which is going to be awesome for my brother and I.
Good luck.
Fantastic. Yeah. Like that is our most packed day of this entire trip. And it's just like, hey, throw something else in there. Before I ask Todd, before I ask you, we did have some stuff in the Secret Friends Unite Discord. Daddy D. Wally said, I can't believe Switch 2 got Bloodborne 2 before PlayStation and Final Fantasy Remake before Xbox. Looking forward to some juicy takes. I think we've covered games though. But the next point from Chipotle Bear, do you think the price of games will end well for Nintendo, or do you think this is the first time Nintendo might be forced to put sale prices on their games eventually? Daddy Diwali came back with narrator, they won't. Which, Chipotle Bear said, I agree, but it's a good discussion. Luke Lore chimed in with, I want to switch to for Mario Kart and some other games, but they're just updating to stuff I have versus some major new thing. I think Xbox and PlayStation have similar issue. Why is that? Counterpoint, I love my old games and want more of them. So it's like that kind of weird balance between like, oh, flashy new things, also GameCube games. It's weird. But Winter Gamer said, what has been a pleasant surprise that makes it easier to jump in for us in the Switch 2? For me, it's controllers working in a wireless function. Sounds like the easiest thing for at least part of this group is being able to sell your OLED. Makes it easier to jump into the Switch
2. Money makes it easier.
Money does, half price Switch 2s make it easier. For me, it's just, honestly, Finn is playing more and more video games. So instead of buying him a Switch Lite, I'm giving him my OLED and I'm buying this. So same kind of concept is
Right.
I got to buy the kid something so I can actually play my GD Switch. So this is just a solution for me, basically. It's an expensive solution, but it's a solution nonetheless, because I'd be dropping $250, $300 on a new Switch for my Goblin. With all that out of the way, Todd, how are you feeling about this as the usual Nintendo skeptic? I'm very curious for your take.
It's so weird because I am very excited about the Switch 2 because the games they showed from third party, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, all these games, and it's like they had struggles on other hardware that was better. And with, having the only system that will have NVIDIA DLSS at launch is making me feel like the Switch will be a much more capable system than a lot of the PC handhelds because they are using AMD chipsets, which just struggle at times. So for me, this is a way to actually not have to worry about getting into the handheld PC set, get some good games plus Nintendo, because I'm always going to play games on Nintendo's hardware, the games I enjoy. And for me, it's like, oh, it looks like it's finally the Switch I wanted. And it looks like it's finally delivering on what I've really gotten frustrated with. The online, some of the other things that I always felt like, wow, it feels like it's half-assed. It's not great. It's going to have a good screen. It's bigger, all these things. So I'm very excited about the Switch 2, but I recognize the price. I'm not your average Joe that struggles with that. My son has my Switch OLED at college. It's never coming back. I'm not getting it back. But I did sell my Series X. And I've got that money, and I've been selling some of my old stuff. I sell Ring Fit for $35. Okay, I'm not going to be able to use it anymore because, and we didn't talk about the games that won't work, but I assume that won't work anyways. So I'm like, I've got like $450 already saved up for the Switch 2. So it's like it's a no brainer. But yes, there's going to be some challenges. I'm excited that some of these games that ran like crap will run better. So for me, I'm excited for the system, and I have put in for my Nintendo because I'm the family household owner of the NSO, which you need to pre-order through Nintendo. I've also put in through Best Buy, so I'm excited. But I have heard from a lot of people that they are now turned off because of the price and also the cost of games. So I get it. I do worry about though. I think this is going to sell out immediately, but I don't know about year 2 or year 3.
I am very curious if people do speak with their wallets. Like to Chipotle Bear's point, I think at this point, if that's the biggest touch point, like we could see Nintendo start to dial back, at least have price parity with Xbox and PlayStation, try to match that kind of stuff. Like if everyone's at least on an even playing field, then you're having that balance of like, pretty, like Clint said, like, ray tracing and all those extra pretty things that those consoles can do versus having it anywhere, playing Cyberpunk on the go, which is, a big selling point for some people. And but again, at that point, you're choosing between like a Steam Deck or the Switch 2, but then, and so you have to kind of decide which way is right for you. But I am very curious with the price of games.
And Mark, I was thinking about this, and for all of you guys, I know Mark's got to head out like very shortly. And he's actually given us more of his time, so I appreciate him. But it does make me feel like the Nintendo's getting in front of Xbox doing something, and because of that, it's very smart. But if Xbox comes in aggressive with a great system that does awesome things for the same price or $400, I don't know what Nintendo's going to do. Quite honestly, they do have their own games, but Xbox has got a huge library and they've got a big relationship with other vendors. So I would be curious to see if that does change Nintendo's tune, or they're just saying we're okay with the Switch 2 not being as big as Switch 1. We just want to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Rumors of like Xbox opening up Steam, kind of like,
or even having a handheld, right? I mean, yeah.
There's crazy stuff. One last point that Todd, you kind of mentioned there for a brief second that I did have in my notes that I want to get the kind of final thought on. This is a big system. Like this is a chonky boy. And one of the things that we touched on earlier that we mentioned at the beginning of this show and on our last show was a couple of different SKUs. How are you guys feeling about the size of this? Like we're all grown ass men. But is the size of this thing going to like size, price, all that kind of stuff? Is that going to kill Nintendo's usual like kid friendly market? Like this thing's massive compared to even a Switch,
children,
let alone a Switch.
Children will sprain their thumbs, Mark.
I don't think it'll be a problem. Do you think that do you think the Joy-Con in the Joy-Con grip is bigger or smaller than an N64 controller that we used when we were kids? Maybe not Todd. Sorry.
I'm thinking more of the console itself.
The width and the girth. The width and the girth. It's as thin as the original Switch.
Have you ever?
But it's definitely wider and tighter.
Have you ever held a Sega Game Gear with batteries?
Yes.
I've held an Asus
that's
ROG
bigger and
Ally.
heavier
So.
I have this weird. I think that's a fair point.
I think the one thing that's going to suck with the size of the console in handheld is when I usually play as handheld, and a lot of people I think will be playing a handheld, is that they still did not add ergonomicals to that Joy-Con, and it's a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So now, not only is the first thing I thought of after the 450, the 90, I was like, I'm also going to have to buy third-party controllers to
grips,
make this comfortable. Yeah. So
D-Brand does have
it's bigger for sure.
Those available at launch for what it's worth. You can sign up to pre-order them. What's it called? The D-Brand Kill Switch, I think.
D-Brand Cracked has one, I think.
Yeah. So there will be those, but you're 100% right. It will make the ergonomics worse because it's going to be heavier.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm holding out for my third-party Procons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we will, I'm sure, have more information over the next couple of weeks as things come out, as we see some tree houses. This is like our first initial quick takes. We didn't even get through all the things that we had in our show notes, but I think right now it's like kind of cautiously optimistic. I think everyone's still kind of like, I kind of want it. Sticker shock's a thing, but we're all still in the like pre-order bucket for now. So that's, I think, a half decent sign, but we're not exuberant. A good kind of summation.
I think that's fair. So, Mark, I think my last thing I had here was our event rating, not the Switch itself or the cost or thing. Like, how was the event? It was an hour long. So, considering what we've seen before, the weird like Japanese Switch event that happened like in January that we saw, was like, this is the weirdest thing ever. And then you could pre-order right after at midnight. What would you guys say out of 10 sexy apes you'd give the Switch Direct event?
For me, I don't know if anybody else had a lot of trouble, but the whole reveal live was completely out of sync audio wise. Yeah. And then for a while it paused, but still played, and you could hear. And I'm like, if something large gets announced while this is paused, I am going to flip out. And then it came back, and the
voiceover is like the biggest game ever from Nintendo, and we're showing that kid survival game. I'm like, what the hell is that game with kids?
Okay. We got froze for everyone at the same time.
That's what happened to me. Yeah.
And then to also be showing off the live stuff of, people talking and stuff and showing the frames being bad during that. I don't know. Overall, just because it's a sexy ape, probably 4 out of 10 for me.
Whoa! Was that the rating of the sexy ape or the direct?
No, it's only because we're rating in sexy apes. If it was sexy apes, it'd probably be a 3.
Oh, okay.
Ouch.
Wow.
Eric.
I was not happy. I've kept it tame.
Okay, keeping it real.
All right. Eric, more generous. How you feeling?
Are we almost everything, like I have a pros and cons list, and almost everything in the cons list are things I learned after the event. So if
Yes,
we're talking about just the event, oops, I just punched my mic. If like the Xbox E3 event is a 10 from last year, which I think it was, I would say this is like a 7, and I'm being really nice. I would say 7 because I was getting and I also am watching this whole thing, which is probably some of you are the same. I am watching it through the lens of my daughter's gonna love this stuff. My daughter's gonna love Jamboree. Oh my god, she's gonna love so I was getting a little bit more out of it from that angle. But I would say 7. Yeah. Until it was over, and then they just started chipping away at that 7. With
reality came in, and you're like, yes,
we're bonanzaing the crud out of that 7. Now it's not a 7.
That's a fair point too, because like this, does the after event stuff take away from the event?
Yeah,
because I was thinking like
they didn't even put a price point in there.
Yeah, I was worried they showed the label like no price point.
Yeah,
they knew.
Like, okay.
Yeah, they knew. Yeah, but see, the thing is like I think that for me that detracted from it because again we're a week out from pre-orders. We're 2 months from having this stupid thing in our hands. Give everything you can in the presentation and have it ready to go. I'm gonna say a 6, maybe a 6.5 for the presentation, and probably I'd knock it down to a 6 or like a 6 or maybe even a 5. Afterwards, after we heard all this pricing stuff and everything else, I thought it was good. Again, like if I'm looking at it just from the presentation, viewing it, like Eric said, from my kid's standpoint, there were a few things like Mario Kart Tour. I think he's going to lose his mind when he sees you can drive anywhere. And that alone for me was like, whoa, super high point. And then it kind of like kept being like, oh man, this is super gimmicky. Oh, I'm kind of worried about that. I'm gonna keep it at a 6.5. Todd?
Wow, man, I'm gonna be this is gonna be bizarro, Todd, but I'm all in on this. I don't know what it is. I don't care about the price or anything. I was like 9 out of 10. I'm like, wow. I'm all in. It addressed all the issues I had with the Switch 1. Underpowered, not enough third-party games. I mean, it's like they addressed everything. And I know I'm getting great games in the future. So it's like, we aren't getting great games. I mean, I didn't get my 3D Mario, but I'm like, Donkey Kong was enough for me. And I treat this like Nintendo versus other systems because with Nintendo, I know I'm only going to probably play like 10 games on this handheld, but I think now I can finally like get into like games that I think work for a Switch that I'm not going to be worried about. Is it horrible on the Switch 2, which would be like the Marvel Cosmic game. I'm like perfect with the Switch 2. Won't have any performance issues.
That's such a good point because I looked at this trailer that same when you said the Marvel game, when I saw Fortnite splash up there. I haven't played Fortnite on Switch in, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years because it used to be great when it was like kind of almost on par with stuff. And then Fortnite got upgrades as, systems got better and Xbox and PlayStation kind of moved up, and Fortnite on Switch really tanked. And it was borderline unplayable now as far as I'm
playing
concerned,
with mobile players, right? Yeah. You're just like, I'm not even playing with the cool people.
It's not even that. It's just the frame rates and just everything. Just, the Series X is so much better. But if they can make that close to, playable, handheld Fortnite, I might have to bump my score up to a 7 just for that kind of like think it like legitimately like. Yeah. I used to love that game handheld, and if it's playable, not even great, if it's playable on Switch, like that kind of look at it of like, Tony Hawk is playable, this kind of stuff of like. You again weigh those pros and cons. Awesome point, Todd. You just added 0.5 to my score.
Just call me non-Todd Dendo normally, but I am Pod Dendo now. So I don't know. It just delivered what I want the Switch to correct the issues that I've had with the system. So it's made a lot of improvements, but it has a lot of challenges ahead with it. So, but if I was Todd on a budget, I would say this system is not a day one for me. So, but with that, I am a day one. So with that, I think that is it for our show. Our sexy apes are ready to go. Donkey Kong's on fire. Merc with his weird banana hole. That's what the B hole stands for, banana hole. Exactly. So there you go. Thanks, Henry, for listening to the podcast. So there we go.
Did you notice in the Dragon, what's it called? The Dragon Drive game? It was Mark versus Henry in the two.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's amazing. Yeah. And you know what? Talk about inclusion. A wheelchair game. You've not had one of those before. So I think that's awesome. So that is it for the show. Thank you so much, Clint. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Mark. Before we go, tell us all where we can find you around the webs. Clint.
Okay, I'll go first. You can find me at Spreading the Nerd over on Blue Sky. I've been more getting into Blue Sky over there. So Spreading the Nerd over there, and also the YouTube channel Spreading the Nerd. That's where you can find me.
Great show.
Thanks for having me.
And my name is Eric again. You can find me on Twitter at GamePositiveYT. You can find me at Blue Sky at Eric Bezanson, Bezanson. Make sure to check out my review for South of Midnight. It actually drops tomorrow at the Embargo on Season Gaming's YouTube channel. Really happy with how the video turned out. Can't say anything about the game just yet, but you'll find out all about that tomorrow. I think the video edit's pretty cool, at least for my standards. But that'll be on.
Drop a link into the doc so I can put that in the information that goes out.
See, during this recording, Ains has been getting it up, but I don't think he has fiber, and the video is 10 gigs, so I think it's still processing. So I might not have it, but I'll send it to you when I get it. But it will be an instant premiere. I think the embargo is noon Eastern time. So check out the Season Gaming.
This will go out much later than that. Yeah, this will go out in the afternoon, probably tomorrow. So,
all right, cool. So check out Season Gaming's YouTube and check out my review for South of Midnight.
Sweet.
And Eric is our reigning SFU champion of Fantasy football postseason, and he got the cup. Mark.
Yes, you can find me, like I said earlier in the show, if you want to enter that contest, look me up mostly on Instagram, Canerdian_Jedi. Look at that cup. That is fantastic. Also hanging out on the Threads, Blue Sky every once in a while. So you can still find me there, although you don't post much. And of course, hanging out in the Secret Friends Unite Discord channel.
Excellent. I'm at Todd Oxtra at Secret Friends Unite on the Blue Sky, at T Oxtra at Secret Friends Unite, I think with dots, at the Threads and Instagram. And also, I just put up a really weird video on short about our Patreon giveaway. It got like 950 views. So weird. So, apparently I'm a celebrity. Nice. So that is it. Check us out everywhere where Secret Friends Unite is. Enter our contest. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.